Namaste. So I didn't really expect that my Enlightenment Day or birthday or whatever you want to call it would turn into a big thing, but it did. So I thought I would give a little message, and also for Christmas, about what is the value of human life. How do we actually measure how good we're doing? You know, this is the time of the year, the end of the year, winter solstice, where we look back over the previous year and we have to analyze, how well did I do? So that requires measurement. Did I do good? Did I bad? Did I reach my goals? Did I not? How do I know? In other words, what is the criterion, or what is the unit of measure, the system of measure for evaluating a human life, and whether it's a good one or a bad one, or in the middle somewhere? Now, a lot of people measure the value of human life in terms of money. But, you know, money is called chanchala. One of the nicknames of money in Sanskrit is chanchala. It means unsteady, restless, flighty. It never likes to stay in one place. It always likes to move. So those whose lives are based on collecting money are often successful in that measure, but very bad in others. Well, what are the great goals or the opulences that human beings think are valuable? Besides money, there's power, and then there's beauty, and then there's knowledge. How smart are you? And then there's renunciation, or religion. How advanced are you in religion? So wealth and also fame are very much pursued. And beauty, or sex life, is very much considered a high goal. And I've known people, well, I've known all kinds of people, but I've known people who measure their success in life in terms of sex. How much, how often, with what kind of quality of partners, and so on like this. And of course, fame is also chanchala. Fame depends on the fashion of the public. Nothing changes faster than that. You can be on top one week and down at the bottom the next. Fame is not something to base your life on or to measure your life by, because it's so transient. And the same goes with the other things. Even knowledge. I'm not talking about wisdom now. I'm talking about knowledge. How many things do you know? That can change. Look at how many different scientific theories about any subject or topic whatsoever came and went during the last, let's say, 100 years, length of a human life. So you can be winning the Nobel Prize this year, and then next year, your whole theory could be thrown out. What's the good of all this knowledge? And even religion, renunciation, it's also subject to fashion and fads. What is a religious person, or considered a religious person today, 100 years ago would be, a very bad person, morally and spiritually. So we have to understand the values of society always are changing. You know, what's good today is bad tomorrow. What's out this week is in next week. We just can't count on any of it. Oh, and then of course at the end of life, it all goes. You can't take it with you. It all goes and it finds its way into somebody else's hands. Huh? The same awards, the same titles, the same fame, knowledge, religion, money, power, what have you, simply goes to somebody else. This is Chanchala. It is actually one of Lakshmi's names. Lakshmi is sometimes identified with wealth and fame and so on, these material opulences. But she is here today and gone tomorrow. That's her nature. She plays according to her will, and you can't predict what she's going to do. So really, these measures are not very good for determining how successful we are in life. And probably a lot of you have been able to see where I'm going with this, that only spiritual advancement is really worth measuring our life according to. But again, how do we measure spiritual advancement? Well, I would say the best measure of spiritual advancement is happiness in the mode of goodness, sattva guna. Sattva guna happiness is steady because it's based on consciousness and your state of being. It doesn't just come and go. It has to be earned. Now, there's happiness in the mode of passion too. Happiness in the mode of passion is easy and quick to attain, but it's also quickly gone. We get a date with that person we've always wanted to be with, and then we go out and we're happy, right? And then they drop the line, oh, sorry, actually I'm engaged to somebody else or something like that. This always happens, right? So happiness in the mode of passion, which is linked with desire, is also temporary, very impermanent. And happiness in the mode of ignorance, which is based on sinful activities like meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex life, and so on. It's miserable in the beginning, miserable in the middle, and miserable at the end. So happiness in the mode of ignorance doesn't count. Only happiness which comes of its own accord without striving is happiness in the mode of goodness. It's caused by our previous good karma. The things that we did in the past that are according to the Vedas, according to the scriptures, according to wisdom. And this kind of happiness is indestructible because it's based on our state of being. It's based on our state of self-realization, consciousness. So once you advance to a certain stage of consciousness, that is never lost. That is stated in every great scripture. It cannot be lost. Even at the end of this life, it comes with us into the next life. Or if we're really fortunate, it results in our liberation and we have no next life. So this is the real happiness. This is the happiness that can't be lost. And how do we measure that? By the happiness we have in the mode of goodness. By the happiness that comes without striving. Well, you might say, well, you have a desire for spiritual advancement, so you do that, you do those things that are conducive to it, and then the result comes to you. Well, but the thing is, when you're actually doing sadhana, you're not thinking of I want to be happy. You're thinking, I want to get out of here. I want liberation. I don't want to be born again in this world. It's a negative kind of aspiration. I don't want any more suffering. I don't want any more heartache. I don't want any more false promises and betrayals. I want to go to a better place, a place which is filled with a better quality of people. I want to be in a pious, enlightened society, not a materialistic society. I want to get out of this earth planet. I want to go somewhere else, somewhere better. So this is the kind of desire that we have when we do the sadhana. But when we get the result of sadhana, then it's just pure happiness. When we realize, oh, I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm something beyond all these. I am the witness dwelling within. I am Brahman, pure consciousness, aware only of my awareness. See, this is the ultimate happiness. This happiness can never be lost. This happiness is intrinsic to our very being. And if we think we need anything else, other than the bare necessities of taking care of the body, good food, adequate housing, and a little bit of clothing, a little bit of, whatever tools we might need to do our engagement, our service in life. Beyond that, really, what do we need, So that happiness that is based on the things of this world, the sense objects, and hard work and striving is not a good measure of this human life and our success in life, or even our success in 1 year. The best measure is happiness. So now we're like 13 minutes in, so all the stupid people are gone, right? And I can tell you about what happened this morning. This morning I woke up, just after the winter solstice and the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which turned out to be really intense, for me anyway. I could feel it really strong. And it happens to be in my house of work. 10th house, Sagittarius. And I could feel that by Jupiter passing Saturn, like Jupiter's moving really fast, almost as the maximum speed that it ever moves. So when Jupiter overtakes Saturn like that, it's like, first, Jupiter feels oppressed by Saturn, especially because it's in Sagittarius, where Jupiter is in its declination, the opposite of being exalted. It's down, it's at its weakest energy. So it feels oppressed by Saturn. But then when Jupiter passes Saturn, hope awakens. And this hope will just continue to build, especially when Jupiter passes into Capricorn on the 28th, into the house, my house anyway, of results of work. So it probably means more recognition and stuff like that. But that's not what I'm concerned about today. This morning I woke up and I had such a feeling of peace. Usually in the morning I run around and do a bunch of duties around the house and stuff. This morning I didn't do anything. I woke up, I took bath, and then I went into deep meditation. And I went into samadhi. And I was in samadhi for over 2 hours. I didn't hear, see, feel, or know anything outside of the self. pure peace, pure calmness. Huh? And this is the kind of happiness, this is the unmatched happiness of real spiritual life. When you get to the point where you realize, this is it. This is my last lifetime. Mother has blessed me. She showed me her real form back in 1984 on my Enlightenment Day, on the winter solstice. So the winter solstice is always very special for me. And this time, this year, she showed me how the same vision is not just outside like I saw it 36 years ago. It's also within. And on that note, I want to close and just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And know that we're going to be continuing Lakshmi Tantra and going into some very interesting subjects. And after Christmas, after New Year's, then we're going to get right back in the saddle and we're going to be producing a lot of videos. So do stay tuned. And again, all the best to you in the coming year. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum.